free my blade from the flesh of the innocent. Hide in plain sight. Never compromise the Assassin Brotherhood. These are the tenets of the Creed, the principles I used to live by. I was a young man then. The 7 Years' War was about to begin. I could not have imagined what the future had in store for me, nor the cost I would choose to bear. My name is Shay Patrick Cormac. This is my story.
Hello fellow gamers and Assassin's Creed lovers, and welcome to another video and yet another Assassin's Creed game. 2014 seems to be the year of the AC, and this time we're playing Assassin's Creed Rogue on last gen machines. The version you've seen before you is the Xbox 360 version that I picked up. Now, playing this coming off of AC Unity, there are a few stark contrasts that will come out of it, but I'll touch on those later. This is not a full review. I may do a full review if everyone wants that, but this is basically my first couple of hours on the game and a little bit of a run through for you guys to get an idea of what it's like. First thing is, as predicted and what I said before in my previous videos, this game basically is Assassin's Creed Black Flag 1.1. There is not a huge difference from it at all. It's using the same engine, the same assets, the same sounds, the same structure. You can see it all over the place. Look here, when you upgrade your ship, it's the same. The menus are the same. The Abstergo building insides are the same. The character models are identical, and even to the point where when you're sailing out at sea, the layout, the reflections on the water itself is identical, and everything works the same way. You battle ships the same, using your cannons from the front, from the side, dropping barrels to explode. You attack and mount the ships, you then capture the crew and either salvage the ship or use it to repair your own. You go to little docking stations and merchant centres around the islands, and then basically you upgrade your ship and work through the story missions that way. You've got fast travel that you unlock through the map, and the same old thing, you have to kill animals, you can skin them and use them to craft new belts, new holsters for your gun. The mixture of Far Cry 3 and Assassin's Creed Black Flag is all in there, even with some additional storylines from Assassin's Creed Black Flag brought in from the back of Freedom Cry and such like, and also you've got assets used from things like Assassin's Creed 3. The American areas and villages and the shanty towns, the snow clearly from Assassin's Creed 3, and obviously all of the built-up areas in Africa from Black Flag, and the sunsets and the seafaring aspect has all been carried straight over from those three games, along with quite a lot from Far Cry 3, clearly, because obviously the first person section in Abstergo are all running through the Far Cry engine, even to the point where sometimes you think that you're going to see Vaz jump out and start monologuing at you before chucking you off a cliff tied to a rock. That of course doesn't happen because this is Assassin's Creed. Well, at least I think it is. The game is a mismatch of everything that's going on within Assassin's Creed, and it ends the saga basically from last gen, with AC Unity being a brand spanking new fresh start on a vastly improved and upgraded engine. The first thing you can see, just a few glimpses here, look at the animation, how stifled and rigid it looks, and then you have a quick flash of Assassin's Creed Unity. You can see the difference in the cloth physics and animation. I know the hardware's leapt up. Black Flag was the same game on last gen as it was on this gen. This is a basic example of how that change has been made throughout the engine. That said, we all know where Assassin's Creed Unity is, and if you have a chance, check out my technical analysis on that game and my head-to-head, which I'll stick a link in here if you haven't seen that so far, to get an idea of where that game sits. But certainly this game is the end of an era as it stands for where Assassin's Creed is. It started on last gen, and this basically ends it. The differences between this and Unity are vast in some areas, as you've just seen from the animation, the lighting, the texture detail, and the cinematics are literally night and day. You go from stiff, wooden looking faces, dead eyes, flat skin, really poor voice acting, compared to what you get in Unity, which is like a Disney movie.
That's some welcome.
One can't be too careful. But after what happened...
Elise,
Haven't you done enough to repay my father's kindness?
Elise, please. You can't believe I killed Monsieur de la Serre.
But here we're not an assassin Armand, but rather an Irish rogue. The first thing you'll need is at least 1 gig of storage, because you have to perform a small install to play this game on the 360. But that said, how does the game play? Well, it does the same old thing. You start off, you have to ply your trade and learn the tricks of the trade of being an assassin. You play Shay Cormac, a young Irishman brought into the Assassin's Creed, and bad accent aside, your mission is to work through the assassin's plans and do what they tell you. It uses some pretty bad voice acting, and the Irish accents are pretty shocking.
Hey, we're not most at ease when we're at sea. Right you are. Let's set sail.
If you play Black Flag, you've pretty much played this game. There is no difference on performance and everything else. It's around 30 frames at points, but it doesn't perform great. You can see the difference in the shadows here, which I'm showing, the texture quality. All of this is a huge step down if you've been used to playing on PC or Xbox One and PS4. You are going to notice the difference on this game. But other than that, in a shocking turn of events for an Assassin's Creed game, you actually start to develop a conscience for all this mass murder you're running around at, and your Jason Voorhees impression decides to come to an end when you suddenly feel that what you're doing may actually have some kind of purpose in the world. Questioning the morals behind the Creed and why they are doing this, you decide to work your way up through the ranks, still murdering a few people while questioning your morals, but at some point decide, hang on a minute, I'm not too happy with this, what should I really be doing? This then turns into double jeopardy as you portray them, but they portray you a damn sight harder, leaving you for dead and then continuing on their wicked ways, or good ways. At this point I was quite confused at which one was good and which one was bad. Shay then continues his journey on the Templar side, working through the areas, and again in very much the similar fashion that Ubisoft only ever do. You then have to, yes, obviously, unlock areas by synchronising as the crow flies on certain perches. At this point, Shay needs some time to heal, but in good old Irish style, some good old-fashioned fisticuffs will have him shipshape in Bristol fashion before you know it. Along your care in the community crusade that you find yourself on, you can remove rival gang members and take their flag, thus taking over the area, very Far Cry style, and also capturing areas that you now own. On top of this, you can help the local economy and boost morale by, yes, spending money to build up businesses and houses to improve the area that you're in. So they've added a lot more diversity to the game, along with just sneaking around and obviously murdering people randomly in the name of some random order which you find yourself on at any given point. This not only allows you to peep on people in the toilet, but also kill women randomly running around shouting boo, as they are gang stalkers that just have this weird way of stabbing you and legging it like some mad beast. This opens up the ability to get back onto your ship and travel out at sea, and this is where the game really excels. Again, just like Black Flag, it really does look stunning. Sailing around the sea, looking at the moonlight and the reflections, the birds flying in the sky, the way the ship and the water reacts as you bob up and down and have seafaring battles. You can now blow up icebergs which cause huge tidal waves. Again, you can hunt mammals in the sea like whales and sharks, and you can see the animation that commences this sequence, and the whole thing entirely is identical to Black Flag, and that pretty much sums up the game. It's built from all the leftover parts, leftover assets, and all of the stuff from the previous games, and they've just wrapped a new story, narrative and process behind it. It's not a brand spanking new game, and it does feel like a B-roll movie version of Assassin's Creed, in my opinion. It feels like an Assassin's Creed game. It fits well, but playing it next to Assassin's Creed Unity, it does feel very, very different and very old. Unity obviously does deliver a more coherent story. The acting and the voice work is far superior. Some of the voice work in this game really is shocking and just shows it at the B-level generation that the game actually is. Listen to this.
Careful now. These ruffians can be anywhere. You can draw them out by making noise.
Oh, I've got something better than that.
Well, you seem to be more than capable of taking care of this matter.
It sounds like the dialogue from a bad porno movie. But that aside, the game is reasonably enjoyable. Just don't expect huge changes. It flows the same way as Black Flag. So you've got a lot of grinding to go through the game to build up materials, loot different areas, salvage the ships like I said before, skin animals, hunt different areas, treasure hunt, dive in the sea, harpoon animals, all along to distract you whilst you're going throughout your mission. And on the Templar side, you then basically go out for revenge using your skills and be in a freedom fight, making a nice, safe neighbourhood for those to live in. So that aside, obviously, aside the murdering, killing, running around and hooding, you can also wear your mask just like a Watch Dogs wannabe. You can then run around with your hood on, murdering people. There's also some Assassin's Creed puzzles, but these aren't overtly taxing and they shouldn't be too challenging for most people. The problem with the game is, when you look at it in the context of what people do, you basically just go around and be kind of a hooded vandal. There's no reason half of why you're acting the way you do, and you come across as a bit of a knob. And that's probably the big problem with the main character. Shay is nowhere near as endearing as Connor was. Connor had the balance between being a cocky guy but kind of likeable. Shay comes across as a bit of a douche sometimes. Not quite on the level of Aiden Pierce, but again, Ubisoft failed to bring a character out that actually delivers on that aspect of being likeable and somebody that you want to spend the entire adventure with. All that aside, the game is something that will fill the gap if you don't want to jump up to next gen yet and play Assassin's Creed Unity until the new year. You'll certainly feel as if you get another adventure of Assassin's Creed, you'll feel as if you know a little bit more about the story, and there is a lot of loose ends being tied up within the story as you work through the Abstergo missions, which are basically just go here, unlock computer, go back to your station. You then get video scenes running through the history of the Assassin's Creed games, basically just tying it all off. You're going to enjoy it if you've got a last gen machine, then pick it up when it's cheap at £20 or £15. I wouldn't rush out and buy it now, because if you've played Black Flag, if you've played Freedom Cry, you've pretty much played this. The only difference is the story that works through, and it's not that compelling, and it's not something that draws you in massively. That is basically my cut down review. I haven't finished the game, but I can tell you now that I feel like I've played all the way through already, because it is so similar to Black Flag. The reuse of textures, set pieces and everything else has all been copied through. It's reasonably enjoyable, but I wouldn't recommend it over and above anything else that's coming out this year. And yeah, sure, pick it up if you're an Assassin's Creed nut and you want to complete the whole saga and have the whole story without you missing any points. Other than that, I would wait out and buy Assassin's Creed Unity when they patch all the bugs, or take the risk, buy it now, because it is a great game. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this review. If you did, or any of my other content, then please hit that sub button. It really helps me immensely. Hit like if you did, and your thoughts and feedbacks below. What do you think of this game? Are you going to pick it up? Look out for my upcoming videos that I'm working on as we speak at the moment on GTA 5 on both Xbox One and PS4, and obviously Far Cry 4, which is the big game from Ubisoft this year that doesn't actually look like it's got big problems coming out of it. This game also has game-breaking bugs in it. It seems to have an ability that you can just disappear and then basically get sent to Davy Jones' locker, and then you have to restart the game. It doesn't happen often, but it's happened a couple of times in the game. There is a few bugs and glitches about it. It's certainly not a game that's had a lot of love and attention spent on it. It's been a small team's been put on it to get it through and get it out for Christmas. That said, it's nowhere near as broken as AC Unity, but then it's nowhere near moved forward. It's just the engine with somebody spending a little bit of time changing the storyline, changing the plots, and moving some maps around. I'll leave it playing out without my voice over the top getting in the way, so you can have an idea of how the gameplay plays, what it sounds like, what it looks like. You guys and girls take care, and I will see you soon on the next one.